I stood in the empty parking lot at 2 a.m. watching my phone battery die, and that's when I understood with perfect clarity that my family had finally killed me. Not literally, not yet. But the hypothermia would do it soon enough. It was January in Minneapolis, negative 15 degrees, and I'd been standing outside the 24-hour diner where I worked the graveyard shift for 4 hours. My sister Maya was supposed to pick me up at 10, then my mother at 11, after I called begging, then my father at midnight, after I'd used the diner's phone because mine was dead. None of them came. The diner manager, elderly Mr. Chen, had offered to let me sleep in a booth, but I'd stupidly said no, insisting my family was coming. He'd left at 1 and now the place was locked. I was wearing my thin work uniform, a polyester dress that might as well have been tissue paper, and my teeth were chattering so hard I'd bitten my tongue bloody. This was how I would die. 23 years old, freezing to death in a parking lot because my family couldn't be bothered to pick up their phone. My last thought before I collapsed into the snow was that I hoped they felt guilty at my funeral. Then I woke up. I woke up in my childhood bedroom, in the house I'd been kicked out of 3 years ago. Sunlight streamed through the pink curtains my mother had chosen when I was 7 and never updated. My phone, intact, charged, sitting on my nightstand, read July 15th, 2019. I was 20 years old again. I lay there for a full 10 minutes, my heart hammering, testing my memories. They were all there. Every moment of the 3 years I'd just lost. Every humiliation, every betrayal, every time my family had chosen Maya over me, the college fund they'd spent on her spring break trips while I worked 3 jobs to pay my tuition. The engagement party for her and her mediocre boyfriend where they'd asked me to serve drinks to their guests. The Christmas when they'd given her a car and given me a card that said, "I owe you." And that final night, standing in the snow, calling and calling, dying. I sat up slowly. My body was younger, stronger, without the chronic back pain from working retail and food service for years. I looked at my hands, no scars from the industrial fryer accident at my second job. I checked my bank account on my phone, $47. In my previous life, Maya had borrowed $300 from my account that week to buy a designer purse. I'd never gotten it back, but this time it hadn't happened yet. This time I'd changed my banking password the night before, following some paranoid instinct I hadn't understood at the time. Some part of me had been trying to protect myself even then. I heard footsteps on the stairs and braced myself. The door burst open without a knock. "Emma, God, you're finally awake." Maya stood in the doorway, already dressed in a designer outfit I'd paid for with a credit card she'd stolen from my wallet. "I need you to drive me to the mall. My car's in the shop." Her car, the BMW my parents had bought her for her 21st birthday while I'd been taking the bus. In my previous life, I'd said yes. I'd driven her to the mall, waited 3 hours while she shopped, and been yelled at when I'd asked her to hurry because I had a shift at Target. "No," I said. Maya blinked. "What?" I said, "No, I have plans." I didn't have plans, but I would never again spend my time and gas money chauffeuring the sister who'd let me freeze to death. "Emma, don't be a bitch. It'll take like an hour." "No." Her face flushed. "Mom, Emma's being difficult." I listened to her stomp down the stairs, screaming for our mother. In 60 seconds, I knew my mother would appear in the doorway and give me the guilt trip about being a good sister, about family coming first, about how Maya was more sensitive and needed more support. I got dressed instead, jeans, a comfortable shirt, sneakers. I grabbed my purse and my keys. My mother appeared just as I predicted. "Emma, honey, just take your sister." "Can't." Going out, I pushed past her, ignoring her shocked expression. In 23 years of life, 20 in this timeline, I had never said no to my mother. I had been the good daughter, the helpful one, the one who sacrificed. Never again. I drove to the bank first. I withdrew all $47 in cash and opened a new account at a different bank, one my family didn't know about. Then I went to the DMV and got a new driver's license with my P.O. box address instead of my home address. Then I went to my campus. I was entering my junior year of college and spoke to the financial aid office about emancipation paperwork. The woman behind the desk looked at me with kind, tired eyes. "Honey, are you safe at home?" "No," I said. The truth of it felt like liberation. "No, I'm not." She helped me file everything. It would take months, but I was patient now. I had died and been reborn. I could wait. That night at dinner, my family finally noticed something was different. Emma's being weird, Maya announced, pushing her pasta around her plate. She wouldn't drive me anywhere today. Emma, my father said, not looking up from his phone, you need to help your sister. I need to focus on my own life, I replied calmly. His head snapped up. My mother gasped. Maya's mouth fell open. Excuse me? My father's voice was dangerous. I'm 20 years old. I'm in college. I work 2 jobs. I don't have time to be Maya's chauffeur. 2 jobs? My mother frowned. I thought you only worked at Target. I smiled. They didn't even know about my evening shift at the campus library. They'd never asked. Emma, family helps family, my father said. Your sister needs support and I need support too, I interrupted. I need parents who remember I exist. I need a sister who doesn't steal from me. I need a family that doesn't treat me like an unpaid servant. The silence was deafening. How dare you, my mother whispered. After everything we've done for you. What have you done for me? I asked. Specifically. In the last year, what have you done for me? More silence. You paid for Maya's spring break trip to Cancun? You bought her a car. You gave her your credit card with no limit. You paid for her sorority fees. I counted on my fingers. What did you do for me? We give you a roof over your head, my father snapped. I pay rent, I said. $300 a month, which is more than Maya pays. Maya doesn't need to pay rent. She's still finding herself. She's 21, I'm 20. What's the difference? I knew the difference. Maya was beautiful, charming, the golden child. I was plain, quiet, useful only for my labor. Emma, this attitude is unacceptable, my mother said. You're being selfish. I stood up. I'm moving out. I wasn't ready yet. I had almost no money, and my emancipation wasn't processed. But the look on their faces was worth it. Good luck finding someone else to do your laundry, I added and walked out. I didn't actually move out that night. Instead, I went to my room and started planning. I had 3 years of memories, 3 years of mistakes to avoid, 3 years of knowledge about what was coming. Maya would fail out of her sorority in 6 months after being caught cheating on an exam. My parents would blame the school, threaten to sue, throw money at the problem. She'd get away with it, graduate with a degree she hadn't earned, and get a cushy job at my father's company. My father's company. That was where the real story was. In my previous life, I'd learned, too late at my own funeral when people whispered, that my father's tech company was failing. He'd been embezzling from the pension fund, cooking the books, preparing to declare bankruptcy and flee to the Cayman Islands. When he'd been caught, the scandal had destroyed what was left of my family name. I'd been dead by then. I'd missed the whole thing, but now I knew. Now I could act. I opened my laptop and started researching. Corporate law, whistleblower protections, SEC reporting procedures. I had been an accounting major before I died. I'd switched to it after my father refused to pay for my English degree, saying it was useless. He'd wanted me to be useful to his company one day. Careful what you wish for, Dad. Over the next weeks, I became a ghost in my own house. I worked my jobs, went to my classes, came home late and left early. I stopped doing anyone's laundry but my own. I stopped cooking family dinners. I stopped pretending to care about Maya's drama. My family was baffled, then angry, then worried. Are you on drugs? My mother asked me one morning. No. Are you depressed? No. Then what's wrong with you? Nothing's wrong with me, I said. Something's wrong with this family. She recoiled like I'd slapped her. In September, Maya failed her first exam of the semester. She came home crying, begging me to help her study. I can't, I said. I have work. Please, Emma, I'll fail out. Then study harder. In my previous life, I'd written all her papers for her, stayed up with her all night before exams, essentially earned her degree for her. She'd graduated with honors. I'd graduated exhausted. "You're such a bitch now," she hissed. "Yeah," I agreed. "I am." In October, I turned 21. My parents took Maya out to a fancy dinner to celebrate. Her birthday was 2 weeks after mine. They didn't mention mine at all. I spent it alone in my room, eating takeout and transferring the last of my savings to my secret bank account. I had almost $3,000 now. Enough. I started apartment hunting. In November, I found a studio apartment near campus. It was tiny, cramped, and the heater rattled, but it was mine. I paid first and last month's rent with my savings and moved out on a Tuesday while my family was gone. I left a note on the kitchen counter. "I've moved out. Don't contact me unless it's an emergency. Emma." My mother called 37 times that day. I didn't answer. My father called once. "Emma, this is ridiculous. Come home and we'll talk." I didn't call back. Maya texted, "Who's going to do my laundry?" I blocked her number. My new life was hard. I worked 40 hours a week split between Target and the library, carried a full course load, and barely slept. But I was happy. Deliriously, impossibly happy. No one yelled at me. No one demanded my time. No one stole from me. I was free. In December, Maya failed out of her sorority. The cheating scandal was even bigger than I remembered. She'd been part of a ring of students buying test answers. My parents hired a lawyer, threatened to sue the school, and somehow got her probation instead of expulsion. I heard about it through the campus gossip mill. I didn't reach out. In January, exactly 6 months after my rebirth, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but something made me pick up. "Emma, it's Mr. Chen from the diner." My heart stopped. The diner, where I'd worked the night I died. "I know this is out of the blue," he continued, "but our night shift girl just quit, and I remembered you came in looking for a job last year. Are you still interested?" In my previous life, I'd gotten this job. I'd worked there for 3 years, right up until the night they forgot me. "No," said. "Thank you, but no." "Are you sure? It pays well and you seemed like such a hard worker." "I'm sure." I hung up and sat on my bed, shaking. If I'd taken that job in exactly 1 year, I would have been standing in that parking lot again. Calling my family, dying. Not this time, not ever again. Instead, I focused on my other project. I'd been collecting evidence against my father for months. Copied documents from his home office when I'd gone back secretly to get the last of my things, screenshots of emails I'd seen on his computer, bank statements he'd left lying around. He was embezzling massively. Millions of dollars from the pension fund funneled through shell corporations to offshore accounts. In February, I submitted an anonymous tip to the SEC. In March, federal investigators showed up at my father's office. I heard about it from a former neighbor who reached out on Facebook. "Emma, have you heard about your dad? It's all over the news." I hadn't watched the news. I'd been too busy with midterms. I looked it up. Front page of the business section. Local tech CEO under investigation for fraud. My mother called me for the first time in months. I answered. "Emma, please, we need you." She was crying. "What?" "Your father needs your help. You're an accounting major. You could explain to these investigators." "Explain what?" I asked coldly. "How he stole from his employees' retirement funds? How he's been hiding assets in the Cayman Islands? How he was planning to declare bankruptcy and disappear?" Silence. "How did you—" "I'm the one who reported him," I said. More silence. Then a sound like her soul breaking. "Why?" she whispered. "Why would you do this to your own family? He did this to himself. And you all did this to me first. What are we supposed to do? We'll lose everything." "You'll be fine, Sabite," I said. "You still have the house. Maya still has her car. You have more than I ever did." "Emma, please. Do you know what you did to me?" My voice was shaking now. "Do you have any idea? You treated me like I was nothing. You forgot me, neglected me, used me. And that last night, I stopped. I couldn't tell her about dying. She wouldn't believe me." "What last night?" my mother asked. Nothing. It doesn't matter. What matters is that it's over. I'm done being your scapegoat. I'm done being the family servant. I'm done. Emma, you're being hysterical. I hung up. The investigation moved fast. By April, my father was arrested. The evidence was overwhelming. I'd made sure of that. He was charged with wire fraud, embezzlement, money laundering. 30 years in federal prison. My mother hired the best lawyers money could buy. It didn't matter. The case was airtight. Maya called me sobbing. Emma, please, you have to fix this. Take it back. Tell them you made a mistake. I didn't make a mistake. He's our father. He's a criminal, and you're an accomplice. What? You knew, I said. Maybe not the details, but you knew something was wrong. You saw the money, the trips, the spending. You never questioned it because you benefited from it. I didn't know. You didn't want to know. There's a difference. She called me a monster, a traitor, a vindictive bitch. I didn't disagree. In May, the house was seized as part of the asset forfeiture. My mother and Maya had to move into a small apartment. My mother got a job as a receptionist, her first job in 25 years. Maya had to drop out of school because they couldn't afford tuition. I finished my junior year with a 4.0 GPA. In June, I got an internship at a major accounting firm. The pay was incredible, more than I'd ever made in my previous life. I moved into a nicer apartment, a one-bedroom with a real kitchen and a bathtub. I bought myself a birthday present, a beautiful winter coat, warm and expensive, the kind that would keep you alive in a Minnesota winter. In July, 1 year after my rebirth, I went back to my family's house. It was empty now, a for sale sign on the lawn. I stood in the driveway and felt nothing. No, that wasn't true. I felt relief. My phone buzzed. My mother texting from a number I hadn't blocked yet. I hope you're happy. You destroyed this family. I texted back, said, yeah. You destroyed me first. I just returned the favor. Then I blocked her. I thought that was the end of it. I thought I'd won, gotten my revenge, and could move on. But in August, Maya showed up at my apartment. She looked terrible. Thin, exhausted, her designer clothes replaced with a thrift store basics. She'd aged 10 years in 3 months. Emma, she said, please, I need help. I should have closed the door. I should have told her to leave. But some small, stupid part of me, the part that remembered being sisters, sharing a room when we were little, playing dress-up, hesitated. What do you want? Money, just a little. Enough to pay rent. Mom lost her job. They found out who she was, the wife of that criminal, and they fired her. We're going to be evicted. Get a job. I'm trying, but no one will hire me. They all know who I am. That's not my problem. Emma, please. She was crying now. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. I know I was terrible to you. I know I didn't appreciate you. But we're sisters. We're family. You stopped being my family when you let me freeze to death. She blinked. What? I hadn't meant to say it. The words just came out. When did I... Emma, what are you talking about? Nothing. It doesn't matter. Emma, I never... In another life, I said quietly. You were supposed to pick me up from work. You forgot. I called you 17 times. You didn't answer because you were at a party. I stood in the snow for 4 hours and then I died. You came to my funeral and cried and said you were sorry, but you weren't. You were just sorry you'd lost your servant. Maya stared at me like I'd grown a second head. Emma, that's insane. That never happened. No, not in this life. I made sure of it. You're scaring me. Good. Maybe now you'll understand what it was like to be me. I closed the door in her face. She pounded on it for a while, screaming, begging, threatening. Eventually, she left. I never saw her again. My father's trial was in September. I didn't attend, but I followed it online. He was convicted on all counts, 30 years in federal prison. He'd be 70 when he got out. The judge, reading the sentence, said, "You betrayed not just your employees, but your own family. You set an example of greed and selfishness that poisoned everyone around you." I thought that was poetic. In October, I got a job offer from the accounting firm where I'd interned, full-time, starting after graduation with a salary that made me dizzy. I accepted immediately. In November, I got a call from an unknown number. I answered. "Emma, this is Margaret Hartley. I'm your father's mother." My paternal grandmother. I'd never met her. She and my father had been estranged since before I was born. "I heard about what happened," she continued, "with your father. And I heard that you were the one who reported him." "Yes," I said warily. "Good, he deserved it. I've been trying to stop him for years, but he wouldn't listen to me." She invited me to lunch. I almost said no. I was done with family, but curiosity won. We met at an expensive restaurant downtown. Margaret was elegant, sharp-eyed, wearing a suit that probably cost more than my rent. "You look like your father," she said. "Please don't say that." She laughed. "Fair enough. You look like me then. I was told I was plain too when I was young." We ordered food. She asked about my life, my studies, my plans. I answered carefully, waiting for the catch. "I want to help you," she said finally. "Why?" "Because you did what I couldn't. You stood up to him. You refused to be another victim of his narcissism." She paused. "And because you're my granddaughter, and I failed you by staying away. It's too late to be my grandmother now." "I know, but it's not too late to help you build a future." She offered to pay for my senior year of college, to buy me a car, to set up a trust fund that would mature when I turned 25. I wanted to say no. I wanted to be independent, to owe no one anything. But I was also practical, and tired, and 21 years old with trauma I hadn't begun to process. "Why?" I asked again. "Because I have more money than I know what to do with, and no other grandchildren who deserve it. Your father burned that bridge. Maya enabled him. Your mother chose to be willfully blind." Margaret looked at me with something like pride. "But you chose truth, even when it cost you everything." "It didn't cost me everything," I said. "I didn't have anything to lose." "Exactly." I accepted her help. Not all of it. I insisted on paying my own rent, keeping my job, but enough to make life easier. A reliable car, tuition paid, a safety net. In December, Maya texted me from yet another new number. "I hope you're happy. Mom tried to kill herself." My stomach dropped. I called the hospital, verified it was true. Overdose, non-fatal, psychiatric hold. I didn't visit. I didn't call. I sent flowers with a card. "I hope you find peace. Emma." It was more than they'd ever given me. In January, 2 years after my rebirth, I stopped having the nightmares about freezing to death. I stopped waking up in a panic, convinced I was still in that parking lot. I started therapy. My grandmother paid for it, the best therapist in the city, someone who specialized in family trauma. "You're not responsible for saving them," my therapist told me. "You're only responsible for saving yourself." I cried for the first time since my rebirth. In February, I went on my first date. A guy from my accounting class, sweet and nerdy and completely unimpressed by my drama. "Family stuff is complicated," he said when I gave him the bare bones version. "My parents are divorced and hate each other. I get it." He didn't get it, not really. But he tried, and that was enough. In March, I got a letter from my father. Prison stationery, cramped handwriting. "Emma, I understand you're angry, but what you did was unforgivable. You betrayed your own father. When I get out, we're going to have a very serious conversation about your behavior." I laughed so hard I cried. "When I get out." Like he thought he still had authority over me. Like he thought I'd be waiting. I wrote back, I'll be 43 when you get out. I hope you enjoy prison. Don't contact me again. I never heard from him after that. In April, I got a job offer from a different accounting firm. Bigger, more prestigious, even better pay. They'd heard about my role in exposing my father's fraud. It had been in the news, and they admired my ethics. We need people with integrity, the hiring manager said. I almost laughed. I'd destroyed my family out of spite and self-preservation, not ethics. But I took the job anyway. In May, I graduated summa cum laude. My grandmother was the only family member in the audience. She brought champagne and took me to dinner and told me she was proud of me. Your father could have been this, she said. Smart, accomplished, successful. But he chose shortcuts and cruelty instead. I'm not like him, I said. No, you're better. In June, I moved to a beautiful apartment in the city. High-rise, view of the skyline, rent I could actually afford with my new salary. I bought real furniture. Not cheap Target stuff, but actual quality pieces that would last. I hung art on the walls, I bought plants, I made it home. In July, 3 years after my rebirth, I went to a coffee shop and ran into Mr. Chen. Emma! He looked older, frailer. I haven't seen you in years. How are you? I'm good, I said. And I meant it. Did you ever find a good job? I remember you were looking. I did. I'm an accountant now. That's wonderful. He paused. I'm glad you didn't take that night shift at the diner. You would have been too talented for that. My throat tightened. Thank you. Although, he added, I do feel bad. My night shift girl that year, she had a terrible time. Her family forgot to pick her up one night, middle of winter. Poor thing nearly froze to death before a police officer found her. The world stopped. What? I whispered. Yeah, terrible. Situation. She's okay now, though. Moved to Arizona, I heard. Couldn't stand the cold anymore. Someone else. It had happened to someone else. Not me. Not in this life. That's awful, I managed. It is. Makes you think, though. The people who are supposed to love you can hurt you the worst. I bought him a coffee. We talked for a while about his grandchildren, his retirement plans. When we parted ways, I felt lighter somehow. That night, I stood on my balcony looking out at the city lights and thought about the girl I'd been. The one who'd frozen to death in a parking lot, forgotten by everyone who should have loved her. She was gone now. I'd saved her. Saved myself. In August, Maya called me from a number I didn't recognize. Emma, I know you don't want to talk to me, but I need you to know something. I almost hung up, but something in her voice stopped me. I'm sorry, she said. Really, truly sorry. Not because I want something from you, but because I finally understand what we did to you. What I did to you. Okay, I said carefully. I got a job, a real job at a coffee shop. My manager is teaching me how to work, how to be responsible, and it's hard, Emma. It's so hard. And I realized this is what you did for years while I did nothing. I didn't speak. I was a monster, she continued. I took everything from you and gave nothing back. And when you needed us most, we weren't there. Which time? I asked bitterly. What? Which time did you fail me? There were so many. All of them, she said quietly. Every time. I'm sorry. Apologies don't fix anything. I know, I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know that I see it now. I see what we did. She hung up. I stood there holding the phone, feeling something I couldn't name. Not forgiveness, not reconciliation, but maybe closure. In September, my grandmother took me to her lawyer's office. I'm updating my will, she said. I want you to inherit everything. Everything? My house, my investments, my company shares? All of it. But there's no one else, Emma. Your father is in prison. Your mother is not well. Maya is trying, I'll give her that, but she has a long way to go. You're the only one who deserves it. I don't need it, I said. I'm doing fine on my own. I know, that's exactly why you should have it, because you don't need it. You'll use it well. The will was updated, signed, notarized. 3 months later, my grandmother died peacefully in her sleep. She was 89. I inherited $17 million. The irony wasn't lost on me. I'd spent my first life in poverty, working myself to death, and died with nothing. In this life, I was a millionaire at 24. In October, I quit my job. Not because I needed to, because I wanted to. I'd proven myself. I'd built a career. I didn't need to grind anymore. Instead, I started a foundation, the Emma Hartley Foundation for Forgotten Children Scholarships, for kids whose families neglected them, support for students working multiple jobs to put themselves through school, housing assistance for those kicked out by their parents, all the help I'd needed and never gotten. In November, I hired Maya as my first employee. She cried when I offered her the job. Why? After everything? Because you're trying to be better, I said. And because I'm not them. I'm not dad hoarding power. I'm not mom playing favorites. I'm me. I'll work hard, she promised. I'll prove. I know. It wasn't forgiveness. Not yet. Maybe not ever, but it was something. In December, I received a letter from my mother. The return address was a facility for long-term psychiatric care. Emma, I understand now what we did to you. The doctors helped me see it. I was a terrible mother. I chose Maya over you because she was easier to love. She was charming and beautiful, and I saw myself in her. You were quiet and plain and reminded me of my own mother, who I hated. I took that out on you. I'm sorry. I read the letter 3 times. Then I wrote back. Thank you for the apology. I accept it. But I don't think we should have a relationship. What you did hurt me too deeply. I hope you find peace. I meant it. I did hope she found peace. But I didn't need to be part of her healing journey. In January, 4 years after my rebirth, I met someone new. A lawyer, smart and kind, who'd also grown up in a dysfunctional family. My parents kicked me out when I was 18, he told me on our 3rd date. Best thing that ever happened to me. I laughed. Mine too. We understood each other in a way that felt like coming home. In February, Maya came to me with an idea for the foundation. A hotline for people whose families forgot them. Literally forgot them. At school, at work, at hospitals. It happens more than you'd think, she said. I've been researching. There are thousands of stories. I approved the program. We launched it in March. Within a week, we'd gotten over 100 calls. In April, I testified at a congressional hearing about family abuse and neglect. My story, sanitized, without the rebirth part, went viral. News articles, think pieces, a hashtag, #forgottenchildren. My father saw it from prison and wrote me a letter. You're exploiting our family tragedy for attention. You should be ashamed. I didn't respond. In May, I bought a house. Not a mansion, I wasn't trying to show off, but a beautiful old Victorian in a quiet neighborhood. 3 bedrooms, a library, a garden. I hung a sign on the door. Emma's house. Mine, not my family's, not anyone else's, mine. In June, Maya brought me a coffee at the foundation office. I heard from Mom, she said. She's getting out of the facility next month. Okay. She wants to see you. No. I figured. I told her that. Maya paused. For what it's worth, I think you're right. Some things can't be fixed. Do you see her? I asked. Once a month. It's hard. She's different now. Medicated. Aware. But it's too late, you know? The damage is done. I nodded. I did know. In July, 5 years after my rebirth, I woke up in my beautiful house in my comfortable bed and realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd had the nightmare. The parking lot, the snow, the cold, it was gone. I was free. I got up and made coffee. I checked my phone. Messages from the foundation staff, a text from my boyfriend, an email from a journalist wanting to interview me about the work we were doing. My life was full, busy, meaningful, and then I saw it, a news alert. Former tech CEO dies in prison. My father, heart attack, dead at 57. I read the article. There was no mention of me, just the basic facts. Convicted fraudster, died in custody, survived by his wife and daughter. Daughter, singular. I didn't exist to them, even now. I deleted the alert and finished my coffee. In August, Maya asked me to come to a family dinner. Just me and Mom, not like old times, just to talk. I don't think so. Please, just once. She's dying, Emma. What? Cancer, stage 4. She has maybe 6 months. I felt nothing. Then I felt guilty for feeling nothing. Then I felt angry at myself for feeling guilty. I'm sorry, I said. But no. Emma, I gave her my whole life once. She threw it away. I don't owe her my death vigil. Maya nodded slowly. I understand. I had to ask. I know. In September, I launched a book. Forgotten, a memoir of family abuse and self-liberation. It hit the New York Times bestseller list in 2 weeks. The reviews were incredible. Haunting. Powerful. A story of survival and triumph. I did interviews, podcasts, speaking tours. Everywhere I went, people told me their own stories of being forgotten, neglected, abused by the people who should have loved them. You gave me permission to walk away, one woman told me at a book signing. I thought I was a terrible person for cutting off my parents. But you showed me it's okay to choose myself. In October, my mother died. Maya called to tell me, "Do you want to come to the funeral?" No. Okay. She didn't argue. I'll tell them you couldn't make it. Tell them the truth, I said. Tell them I chose not to come. There was a long silence. Okay, Maya said finally, I will. In November, I received my mother's will in the mail. She'd left me a single item, a photo album from when I was a child. I opened it carefully. Pictures of me at age 3, 4, 5. Smiling, chubby-cheeked, loved. There was a note tucked inside. I did love you once. I'm sorry I forgot how. I had cried, not for her, for the little girl in the photos who didn't know yet what was coming. Then I closed the album and put it in a box in my closet. In December, Maya resigned from the foundation. I got a job offer, she said. Teaching, 2nd grade. It's what I always wanted to do before everything. That's wonderful, I said. And I meant it. Thank you for everything, for giving me a chance when I didn't deserve it. You earned it. No, you gave it to me. There's a difference. She hugged me, awkward, brief. I love you, Emma. I know I don't have the right to say it, but I do. I know, I said. I love you too. It was true. Complicated, damaged, painful love, but love nonetheless. In January, 6 years after my rebirth, I stood in my garden on a cold winter morning and thought about the girl who had died in the snow. She'd been so lost, so desperate for love from people who had none to give. But she'd gotten a second chance. And she'd used it well. I'd built a life that little girl would be proud of. A life of purpose and peace. A life where I was never forgotten because I'd finally remembered myself. The snow started to fall, soft, gentle, beautiful instead of deadly. I turned my face up to it and smiled. I was 26 years old, I was alive, I was happy, and I would never be cold again.